Cody, thanks for coming back. We're going to talk about your modern survival skills today that you're going to be presenting at the Prescott Valley Outdoor Summit on September 30th this year. Excited to have you back, buddy.
Thank you.
Let's talk about it a little bit. What goes on in your classes in relation to the modern survivor skills that you're going to be talking about at the event this fall?
And just that Saturday, I'll be doing the modern survival skills, urban preparedness, and a hands-on fire lighting. But the modern survival skills will be on the main stage in the Toyota Center. And really, it's just going to be me lecturing on stage. But the focus of that will be the two biggest killers that bring people down, especially in Arizona. We have our mountains, we have our deserts, right? So I'll be talking about hypothermia, what happens to someone's body core when they're up in the mountains and it gets too cold. And then I'm going to be talking about hyperthermia, desert survival, what happens when someone's core temperature gets too high. And of course, dehydration affects both of them. So the main thing I'll be talking about is, how to deal with a simple day hike gone bad. What are the biggest killers of someone in the outdoors? Mm-hmm. And in Arizona, we have a responsibility to know both cold weather survival and hot weather survival, because we're in this glorious state where we can die of hypothermia around Flagstaff or die in Phoenix of hyperthermia in an hour and a half down I-17, right?
So I wonder how much of this, when you talk about perishing or getting in a lot of trouble from exposure, is it because people don't bring enough water, or is they're certainly not prepared and they get lost, or is it a combination of poor navigation skills and bad situational awareness, or is it like, oh, I'm okay, I only need a bottle of water?
Are you familiar with Mr. Murphy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We've all learned.
Mr. Murphy doesn't care what you think or what you think is going to be the start of your survival situation. So everything you just said and hundreds of other reasons, right? So I'd say clearly the biggest reason that people end up getting compromised in the backcountry is they're not prepared. But it's more than just what they didn't have in their day pack or whatever. They weren't prepared mentally and emotionally for being compromised. So it can't happen to me, right? Denial is not just a river in Egypt. So it's not thinking that something could happen to them. That's really common. If you do the history and the research about lost peoples that come out alive and are then analyzed by someone that gives a damn about, hey, how did you make it? And there are studies that are out there. They're very, very common where they didn't think it would happen to us.
Right.
The simple day hike is one of the biggest killers out there. Why?
I would say not prepared, and from an aviation standpoint, I got my pilot's license in year 2000, and one of the biggest killers for pilots was get-there-itis. Mm-hmm. They thought they were ready to go, and they just went, and they were rushing the storm, like they had to get in front of the thunderstorm or get in front of the weather, or they were running late and it was getting dark and they weren't certified to fly at night. I think all those come into play probably with these people that get in trouble.
They do. And you said they're not prepared, but what do I mean by that? We kind of already said it.
Basic skills and didn't bring enough water, didn't bring enough clothing, not trained on topography.
Right. So they didn't have the hard skills and they didn't have the soft skills of realizing that survival situations can happen to any of us.
Right.
No one has immunity in that. And someone who thinks it won't happen to them, they're the walking wounded. They're the ones that go into a shock state because it's so unbelievable, with what's happening.
Physiology, they don't know what's happening.
Exactly, and all these things, the physics of heat loss and gain, the psychology of a scared person, and the physiology of a scared person, they all mix to perform this really nasty cocktail of you're probably going to die if you don't do something different, right?
Right.
So we're blessed in Arizona with all these different terrains. We have more geographical diversity in the shortest drive time of any place in North America. What makes
Prescott Valley so awesome, right?
So we have
a
lot of diversity here, but with that comes the responsibility to know what in the hell you're doing when you go into the mountains or down to the lower deserts.
Right. So you're talking a lot of different things with modern survival skill. You want to give just a teaser of one of the specific subjects that you talk about? Because we have 3 different ones to talk about in 3 different episodes coming up with you. give us a spoiler alert on one thing for modern survival
Okay.
skills that'll be taught.
I will tell you the two most common ways to die and how people come home in a body bag and how to prevent them with the least moving parts possible, as simply as possible, that anyone can do.
There you go. So September 30th, Findlay Toyota Center, Cody Lundin. Go to PrescottValleyOutdoors.com to find out more and to register and hang out with this guy so you don't end up in a bag. See you later.